Happy Monday, my friends, and welcome to Meta One Design's headquarters at the MetaTribe Plaza. We are here for another episode of Beyond the NFT. Another Monday, another episode, another week. I love Mondays, everyone, and feel very thankful to be able to host tonight's show. It was looking a little iffy. Maybe we can talk about it further into the show. But thank you everyone for being here. Let's see if there's anyone I haven't shouted out yet. I see Derek in the building. He's floating above Wilson. Then we have the Cube. Welcome to Cube. Shelly Van on the rise. Thank you for being here. And for anyone that is listening on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, or on X, welcome to Beyond the NFT. Before we begin, I would like to give a special shout out to our sponsor, Bucktown MMA, founded by our friend Jay. Bucktown MMA is a mixed martial arts program whose mission is to support lives through the transformative power of martial arts. They want to empower our youth and combat athletes through their hard work, dedication, and the challenges they face every day. Personally, I am proud to have Bucktown as a sponsor of Beyond the NFT because I believe they are doing great work out there. They are helping kids and young adults get out of the streets and into a gym where they can be in an environment to learn strong values. And, these strong values will definitely stick with them for the rest of their lives, I believe. So if you'd like to support, head on over to Bucktown MMA, bucktown.org/support. Here, I'll even take us there too, so we can, so we can follow along. Bub. Oh my god, I can't spell for shit right now. Bubtown. And all right, and we're here. From this website, bucktown.org/support, you can read a little bit more about what you will be supporting from all proceedings in your merchandise purchases. So, yeah, thank you everyone for hearing my little shill, and I promise I'll be refining it. Now, without further delay. It is a pleasure to meet and introduce virtual space builder, graphic designer, and AR, XR, MR, VR adaptive artist. Let's give a warm Decentraland welcome to our guest, Wilson.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Wilson. How are you doing this evening? Or for you, this morning, correct? It's very early for you.
Yeah, so this would be next day.
Next.
So UK. So 1 a.m. in the morning just now.
Ooh, just 1 a.m. Well, thank you for being here tonight. I huge time difference, so I really appreciate your time. To just kick off the show, I always like to pass the mic over to my guests and, just give them a second to give themselves a proper introduction, as well as say a little bit about yourself that you would like to share.
Yeah, I would say you covered quite a lot of the stuff that obviously I have written on Twitter. I would say I'm a multi-platform visitor, so I like to get around the different places. I like to get focused into VR more than just the 2D environment versions, but obviously I like all platforms. I would probably give myself a general name as a digital nomad from a virtual aspect. Like I would go to any platform. And obviously I've tried to build in as many as possible, but it obviously takes a bit of time, effort, and knowledge to be able to bring these assets into all the different spaces. So that's been what I've been focused on for the last couple of years.
That I see, and kind of how long have you been a digital nomad, or even to maybe get back even a little further, how long have you been in Web3 and kind of like um, just seeing what's out there when it comes to like Web3 technologies, spaces to build, and yeah, stuff like that, communities.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, I was checking my Ethereum wallets, and my very first wallet that holds some of my like land parcels and stuff inside that was October 2019. So not as early as most people like in the crypto space. It was around after the last in between the two drops, so I managed to come in at quite a good time, and yeah, it's been fun. It's been a fun process, like going through learning curve, seeing what crypto can actually offer on a full like upward cycle, and obviously see the downward cycle at the same time, which hasn't been fun. I
Mm.
don't think anybody would say that was a fun process that we've went through the last year and a bit.
It's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride, but I do always say like the ones that stuck around are the ones that are, that do have a passion to build in, in the space and continue making it grow. Um, oh, excuse me. What were like get early on getting into like crypto and stuff like that? Were there any like NFT projects that you got into early on?
I
Or
I believe I missed all the good ones. Like I think I think when you really don't know what you're looking at when you first come into the space, and obviously I understood the quality of what an NFT could bring from an IP point of view, but when I was looking at other projects and looking at Ethereum and different points, you when you collect these coins, you kind of want to hold on to them because they're precious. And then spending them on NFTs and other parts, it had to feel like a real reason to spend. So when I eventually spent some Ethereum on like lands over at a platform called Space, that was one of my first platforms I went into. I already knew about Decentraland, but it already got to the point it sold an awful lot of their land, and it felt like you were late. And
Mhm.
because obviously it was just weighing up the odds, and unfortunately, I was more focused on VR at that point, and this was a platform that offered that.
Oh, I see. I see. So Somnium is like the first platform you kind of, or like virtual world you kind of crash landed in. How long after you found Sonium did you like start like wanting to learn how to build in it?
Well, so we would have to take a few steps back before I actually even started looking around at land, because by trade I'm a graphic designer. So that is kind of like built into me. Like I want to design my own space. I want to do parts along that lines. But I'm actually in the kitchen trade as well. So from my point, I was working with joiners, architects, different people, and we were starting to integrate VR into the way that we were showing people their kitchens.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, this is amazing! Like you can see a virtual space and you can walk around it, and like obviously you can't touch the counters and see the ovens and stuff working, but they were starting to use that as a sales tool. And I was like, well, I'm building stuff like that for this company. I'm sure that I would be able to build other stuff. So that was when I started looking into it. And the magic of Google basically put together my search results of looking for a plot of land um, to buy, and virtual reality, it put the two together and start giving me basically like ads for Somnum Space saying, "Oh, you should check out this platform. It does this." And then YouTube popped up, and it was a video by Chris Bell. I don't know if anybody knows Chris Bell, but hey, Chris. He did a video way back about how to become a retail investor and in the virtual reality in different points, and I was just like, that's crazy, I'm going to have a look. And I just got kind of sucked in, from that side.
I see, I see. So it sounds a lot like how Decentraland creators when they came in kind of came in wanting to check out the space and then like all like slowly but surely start like digging into the more creative side. I want to build my own experience. I want to create a home, so to say. So as far as Somnium space goes, for anyone in the audience that may be curious, what are the beginning steps? Like, if you wanted to build your own space, let's say you have the land and you want to start building your own space, what are some of the steps and like softwares that you would have to know?
So do you want the new steps or the old steps? Because they're basically just about to upgrade to a new version.
Uh,
So they're in, yeah.
let's do the new
It's
steps
probably,
then.
let's go with the new stages. Right now, they have a platform that's being upgraded that's really focused on VR. So if you have a VR headset and a good enough computer that can run VR, like Steam VR, you can download their package, basically run their package, and you can jump into a virtual world that has been basically set up to have blockchain as the identity layer within that space. You
Mhm,
can basically buy one of the plots of land that's in that space if you require it. Like, obviously, you can still play the game without paying any money.
mhm,
And if you decide to go into the land ownership point, they have a limited amount of lands that they're basically calling their platform. So the main plaza has 5,000 plots, and then they have an outer, I would call it like an onion layer on top of that of worlds. And these worlds are now going to be getting given away to every user to be able to use. So if you're going to be a user, obviously you're incentivized to keep using the platform, and they want to give you the space for people to build. So if anybody is interested, obviously you download the program, you log in with VR ability, and you will be given the ability to be able to build a space that you can go and visit and actually run around in.
That's
What
the
the
future runaround, right?
Yeah, so I don't know if you've ever experienced a virtual world in VR before, but obviously that gives further immersion than the 2D version that we're looking at just now. That obviously people running around the space in a 2D part, it almost feels like a game, and you're watching your character play out the game. In VR, you're basically immersed inside that space. I always looked at it as in I liked games, I liked different points, but I always wanted to be inside the space, and I actually wanted to experience the full running around. And I always have the imagination of if I build a space and I can get inside it, then I actually get to experience it first-hand view. You know, like you see how big an actual building is from your own eye point, rather than watching it from a TV screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely
So
it is.
that's the part that kind of dragged me into that side. I loved it. And I was trying to recreate what I was doing within the kitchen industry for customers. You know, like they were looking at a kitchen, and obviously they were spending an awful lot of money on that kitchen. So we wanted to get it to the detail of what we wanted them to see. So we were going through the process of building our own package and stuff for that part. But obviously, I couldn't afford to be buying the package that they were using, so I was looking for other alternatives like cheaper versions or some kind of like open source version of it.
Mm-hmm. So I currently jumped into one of your spaces. Let's see. By any chance, do you know which one I'm in? Let's see. I can jump to the front here, and
Yep. So
I'm at the
that's one.
pure canna build that
hmm
you've made. What can you tell me about it, and like what inspired the build?
At that stage, that one was built probably close to 3 to 4 years ago, and at that stage I was going through every wall doesn't have to be straight in virtual reality.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when I was creating these experiences, I wanted to play with like shape and like feelings of rooms. So going through like that walkway, for example, that's leaning towards you, so it gives you a different feeling when you're walking through that in VR than it does on like obviously the 2D screen. Right now, you're using the web version of this platform. Obviously, this is a VR experience that you could do by putting on the headset as well, or you can download the platform and actually go in, and you would have other plots around you.
I need to tweak some controls in order to move around a little better here. I see you have the hemp oil ads here. Wonder if they
Yeah,
clickable here? Oh, they are.
yeah, so Pure Canna is actually a company that sells CBD oils in different points. So we were just trying to show them that they could obviously set up a shop from within that space. But we're trying to make it not so imposing that people would have to like. Obviously, we can't really, from a VR point of view, create all the tiny little bottles and make it feel like a massive, massive shop full of like stock. But we can put good adverts up and make it attractive for people to look at.
Yeah. So I noticed that like off to the distance here, there are like little stars that you can see. Are those
Hmm.
like other builds that you have made, or are those just
They're
random,
not
like your
mine. They're
neighbors?
Yeah, so they're random neighbors. It's a bit like a teleport system. If you click on that, it'll pop up. It'll show you where it is, and then you can click on it and actually go to them.
Ah, I see, I see.
It's another way from an exploring point of view. It's really, this is one of Arthur's kind of like built-in concepts of his platform. He wanted people to explore. He wanted people to come into a space, obviously spend as much time that they want in that one point, but he also wanted them to go to the next door neighbors and to travel out and actually experience more of the platform, albeit keeping people in the platform for longer than they would normally choose to do.
So,
Obviously, we had spoke about the teleporting just before we come live. In Somnum Space, there isn't a teleport system, like as in coordinates. You would have to physically walk to a destination or move around. That's a
okay.
good and bad thing for some people.
Yep, yep. I'm always like in the like I always think like the answer to that is like why not both? Why not why not have the teleport for those that want to teleport, but walking for or because if you take away teleporting in a big massive world, I'm gonna use the Decentraland as the example, the big 90,000 parcel world, it's gonna take a bit for you to get from one end of the map to the other end of the
Hmm.
map. Of course, like that.
So we came up with a way to get around. Obviously, we have a teleporting system set up a bit like phone boxes. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like the old school Bill and Ted dial in, go to the place. It was that kind of style that they had in their idea of concept, that these portals could be placed either on somebody's plot if they own it, or it could be into a community-owned area, and it would attract people to come to a space and look around in that one area. Also, we have the ability of using vehicles, so you could jump in a vehicle and actually drive to a space. And obviously, within a 5 kilometer space, there's only 5,000 plots, so it should only take you about 10 minutes to walk to a normal place, or about 2 minutes in the car. Like, and sometimes it's quite fun zooming around the world, blasting through it as fast as you can, crashing into everything in sight.
Oh man, you said the car word. That's what I want on Decentraland. We need cars.
Well, we have that on other platforms like Hyperfi and Resonite's got them.
Hmm.
Plenty of other platforms have the ability to bring vehicles and stuff into the space.
Yep, yep.
I don't believe that every platform has to have every feature. And this is sometimes the part that why I like the multiple worlds is the fact of I'll go to a place because it's good at what I'm looking for,
Mm-hmm.
rather than rather than focused in only on one platform and saying, "Oh, I can't do." I'll just go, "Well, I can if I go somewhere else."
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I promote like travel as much as you can and just move around.
So I guess on that note, then I guess like my question would be, what are your thoughts on like the current state of like how the Web3 spaces like everything is so not interoperable, for example. Like I'm gonna go with the hard one, Decentraland building. That is very hard. And of course, if you know how to build in Decentraland, building in a different space is gonna require like different type of knowledge, either coding or blender wise, like when it comes down to like the designs and how much you can push it. Like what are your thoughts on like how different everything is between platform, and as a creator, does it make it hard to jump in between, or do you kind of have like a like a guideline that you go down and you can kind of figure it out?
I think from my point of view, because obviously I know my goals of what I'm going to create, and I know what the restrictions are from different platforms. In most cases, you can almost build anything that you imagine as long as you stick to the rules of the platform. So if the platform is low poly and you need to create that low poly asset, that's fine for that platform. But if you want something slightly higher poly, you would technically have to go out of that platform to put it in. Like for example, um, anything to do with Hyperfy, because that's a web-based platform. The render engine is done on a website, so it would be very similar to Decentraland from a poly count. You need to keep the poly count as low as possible for the avatars, or you have to restrict the amount of avatars that come into a space. And obviously, Decentraland's going to have a lot more people in a surrounding area than most because you're bigger. You're a much bigger platform than a lot of these guys, and you've got a wider reach, so more people should be coming into the space. And obviously, from a Polygon point of view, anybody can build low poly or high poly. It's actually easier to build high poly than low poly, and the Decentraland creators will say this to you as well. When they have to build to a limit and they're trying to cram all of that into that part, that optimization is quite a lot of work, and everybody should be commended for the stuff that they do build. And it comes down to restrictions as well. Like obviously they have to deny some stuff, some detail, to get other detail to be in a different place. But you'll see a lot of the stuff that obviously I'm creating here, that's using the standard builder from some space. But these are just basic shapes.
Hmm.
A lot of these are just basic squares and circles and different parts, but they're all put together in such a way that it makes more of a structure. But there's not an awful lot of information there.
I see. There's not enough information in like in what respects, like building.
Well, there's not great detail. Like
Mm.
every single wall's got cracks
Okay,
and
okay.
different parts. Like there's not an awful lot of detail in
Yeah.
all the different points.
True, true. Okay, sorry about that. I was just walking by this build, parcel 3187, like
I
out of
quite
the.
like that one because that was meant to be like a walkway kind of catwalk show kind of concept for that one.
It's a pretty cool build. I've been enjoying like like the gallery in the second floor. Right.
It that was actually given to a friend of mine that had a company called User, and they had like a social app, and obviously their users were making artwork, so he was just displaying it
Uh,
inside that space.
okay.
Uh,
So all the artwork on the walls are from community
all
members.
users, yeah.
Uh,
So that's a community build. Basically, my building just getting used as an art studio. slash whatever you want to call it.
Slash headquarters slash auditorium. That's a pretty cool auditorium. And yeah, this piece right here, I found very, very interesting. By any chance, do you know the artist? Oh, actually, I can click on it.
You should be able to click on any of these, unless they've not put in links.
Rebel AI. I guess it was an AI.
Yeah, I don't think he's put. I don't think he's put a link on it. Oh, he has. There you go. That should take you to the user website.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It takes me to Rebel, or like it's a AI generator, I think. So, let's see. I think we should now jump onto some of your Decentraland parcels. I know.
I'll be completely honest, I don't have an awful lot. The parcel that I put the link in for you, that was actually a friend of mine helped me and other people. We just kind of combined together, and we decided while we were creating stuff, he needed a space in Decentraland, so we put that together and put that on one of the Decentraland parcels. But it was only a single parcel, and obviously our grand concept of making a massive place was kind of hurt. And we were like, oh man, I thought it was going to be a bit bigger, more pixels to be able to use with, but
well,
you build what you can with the space, you know.
Yep. Well, if our friends haven't suggested it to you yet, I would highly recommend getting a name. That way, you have like access to the Decentraland world. You could build like a huge build. I don't think there are too many limits on how big you can make it. 150 meg or 100 megabyte file size, and yeah.
For 100 megabytes, I could build an awful lot for 100 megabytes.
Yeah,
guarantee that.
Here, let me go over to my names. We could okay, so like every name gives you 100 megabytes. By any chance, has anyone showed you the Decentraland names yet?
Not recently. I think I spoke to a guy called Cheddar recently. He was showing me his world that he was building out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's just let's see, where is it? Is it under create my names? So on Decentraland, you can essentially like mint your name under the Decentraland like ENS. It is like a subdomain to that ENS.
So it's like dot .dcl or
yep, .dcl .eth. So basically, in the parcel that we're all partying at, you may see some users like have like just their name like above them, and then there's others that have like their name and then like some numbers behind it. Like the ones that have the numbers behind it just indicates that they haven't claimed a name or they haven't minted a name. So in order to mint a name, you could go over to the marketplace, and then under the name section, you can mint right here. It could be up to 15 characters. And then it will cost 100 mana, which currently should be like around 30 bucks, 30, 40 bucks, plus a little bit of gas, like ETH and gas. And yeah, you'll have access to building in worlds. So here, if I press X on my keyboard, and then right here at the top, there's Genesis City, and then there's worlds. Let's jump into Rustan's Cove. This build was deployed onto Rustan's name, and here we are. It's a big build. I believe this one may be like about a 3x3, so like 9 parcels.
Is that his painted body people?
Yeah, Rustan is a body painter.
Yeah.
Do you know Rustan? Have you heard of him?
Just from Hyperfi,
Uh,
I've come across some of his stuff.
yeah, Rustan.
I think he actually put on like an event
Hmm.
in his Blockbuster space, and I ran around it and did his quest and managed to get a beautiful new avatar, a little like videotape guy with legs and arms. It's quite fun.
Yeah, Rustan is like one of the golden beings in the Web3 space, in my opinion. That guy is like he just wants to build, wants to have fun, wants to build, and wants to encourage everyone else to build and make something for themselves. So yeah, like he was able to deploy this in his under his name, and this is like a 3x3 build. So yeah, like maybe something to think about whenever you would like to you know expand on that build. Yeah.
I I'll be 100% honest. It's actually taken too much mental power keeping up with the four different platforms just now. I'm trying to keep up with, like knowledge wise, on how to build on each one because they obviously upgrade, they all change, and I now feel like obviously the stuff that I have is all old, so I have to replace stuff over. So this is why I'd start to give plots out to other people to be able to incentivize people to use spaces without having to buy. Because I was like, well, I'm not using it. It was a test build at that time. So people that used to come into Summon Space when I was a community manager back in the day, I used to say to people, like, obviously, if you've got some kind of use case, you don't have to buy a plot straight away. Come and speak to somebody like me, or there was plenty of guys just saying, use my space, you can build on it and actually make something from that. It's just attention span just now, and I believe in the Web3 space is quite small, and unless the honey's being created. A bit like the honeybees, like they're all flying about trying to make the honey. Unless they're making honey, they're not that interested. So it takes time.
It does.
It
It
takes
definitely
time.
does.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely a lot of mental capacity, as like what as you mentioned when you started your sentence, because I mean this platform, yeah, the thing is, if you're gonna put any mental capacity into it, it usually takes up most of the mental capacity. um, but
One part that I was actually really interested in Decentraland from a practical point was obviously there was massive areas that were like I don't know if they were bought or given away or given to people to build, like from a community point of view.
mhm.
And that's something I really wish was pushed more in these spaces. A community of people coming together and building a whole space, a massive space together. It just brings that real community spirit into the actual space and makes it worth other people putting the effort and time into coming along to any of the events and neighboring spaces.
Mhm.
And it it will snowball. And I believe that you're all doing the right thing. Like obviously creating these times that you're talking to each other and putting these YouTube channels out to allow people to see these things. But I still have that underlying. I don't care what platform I go to as long as it's good for me. Like if there's an event on that's worthwhile going to, and I hear about it, I'll come. So I believe that everybody else would do the same, even if they weren't interested in crypto, but they really wanted to come in and have a community night, like a fun night or a comedy act or any of these type of things. Like I believe that a comedy act's a great way to give an example out, saying to people that if a comedy act was in a virtual space but it's getting recorded and sent out to YouTube, it's actually more fun to be in the 3D event and running around being an audience than watching the YouTube of that thing happening.
Mhm.
So it's trying to tell people why not interact with the actual event rather than just watch it on a YouTube.
Yep, that is the beauty of all these virtual platforms. Like it really you can become immersed like and VR being like the extra step, but like from just like a web page application, like there is I will agree, like there is something about watching a whether like a show, a stream, TV. It even can go down to like TV, just watching TV with all your friends around you in a virtual space and just relaxing. Like it does hit different, and definitely like something that like more people should kind of open their minds to trying. But
I
it.
I believe it's attention span at this point. I
Mhm.
think this is the part that holds people back. Obviously, from a practical point, if you come into a virtual space and you're running around, you can jump around as much as you want. You might annoy the person beside you though, in this kind of setting. So you have to kind of take it take the good with the bad. If you're going to allow people to run about and emote and do other parts, you can't expect them not to do that because you want to be completely silent.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, the patience comment. As soon as he said patience, I like thought about like yes, that is a huge barrier. Like with the Decentraland, like just the patience to wait for it to load is kind of like oh no, rave mode.
But that was something I was going to actually bring up and see if you had an opinion on. Obviously, websites have like a cardinal rule: anything longer than 2 seconds from a loading point, and most people would escape and not go in anymore. They wouldn't go to the website. What do you think about it from a virtual point?
Okay, what was the question again? Again, like
It was more about time from a loading point of view. It doesn't matter what platform; we're all too long. They take too long to get in.
mhm,
Um, but from a web page point of view, like if you're browsing on a web page,
mhm.
the rule by kind of the rule of thumb from a web designer is if it takes longer than 2 seconds to load, you've already lost your customer. Like they'll just click off or move on to a different page.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree on that one. Like, I mean, 2 seconds could be like the standard right now for like just a regular website to load. But like even from like a virtual platform, like it needs to at least be like at most be like 30 seconds, because like they're like even like as myself as a Decentraland user since October 2021, sometimes I catch myself where like I am going on Decentraland, I'm loading Decentraland, I'm in the loading page, and then like 30 seconds go by and I'm like, "Oh, this other thing." And I'm like on X, and then like just forget about Decentraland.
But that's it. It's attention, eh? It's like if something takes longer, you will look, your attention will wander. And
Mhm.
I think this is something I actually particularly believe that VR solves from a slight aspect. Like you look at VR, it's immersing the person fully within that space. They can't pull out their phone because they've got a headset on their face. Like they're not going to look at a phone, you know.
Mhm.
So if you can give them something to keep their attention within that part, they're not going to look out of the headset. They're going to be in the headset. And one part that obviously we were looking at, we had like a, a tablet that you could pull out and you could look at web pages and other parts on that tablet. So it was like a personal phone that you were carrying with you anyway. That you use as a camera and different points. But I still, still think attention's quite a big thing because obviously it really comes it really comes down to what you're using the platform for,
Mhm.
and depending on what is the main use case you're going to use it for.
Yep.
Because not everybody's coming in here to chat to people.
Mhm.
Other people are coming on to to look at information or to find a particular, I don't know, NFT maybe
Mhm. Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, you always like on Twitter and stuff like that. You always hear or see topics captions like saying, "Oh, the metaverse is dead," or "The metaverse it's empty." But like in reality, like right there, you touched on a point. There needs like with attention, like each platform needs to have something that will keep the user entertained. Whether it could be like something that brings them back every set amount of time, like let's say like a public event or something happens every 30 minutes, and like that people will be like using your platform, and then like collecting, incentivizing as well. um seem the like in Web3 we're all about like owning our assets, and
Hmm.
and being able to do what we want with those assets, whether it's collect it and sell it or collect it and keep it forever. um like yeah, we need to bring it all together in a way, and patience, or like improving the platform to be quicker so that it can like connect with human psyche, the human attention span.
Well, do you know what? All humans believe that we always look at somebody else's recognition of whatever we are going to do. So the way I would try and explain it is like if you went to a club and you were going to that club and you walked in and there was nobody in that club at all. The music was good, but would you dance? And if you normally have it in your head that you would go, I don't care if the other people are there, the music's good, I'm going to get up and dance, then you would be great in a virtual world because that's technically what you're doing. You're just coming into a space and you're enjoying the environment. But if your environment involves other people who are having fun as well before you'll have fun, then you're not going to enjoy that part. You have to have other people around you before you're going to get involved and actually do something. So it's given that illusion of other people are here having fun and you're missing out. So you need to get involved.
Hmm.
And it was the same with NFTs. Like they push the restriction on there's only a limited amount. You need to get in fast. You need to do it now. And it was down to speed, and people were jumping over themselves to try and get in quick.
Yeah, right. Well, once the people start doing the beginning math, it's like, okay, so this NFT, there's only 10,000 of them, and there are 8 billion people on Earth. That means if 1% of people buy this NFT, I could be rich.
I
uh,
think it. I think I love the concept of NFT as a non-fungible token. So that's the key word there is token.
mm-hmm.
Token doesn't mean picture receipt. It does not mean that. It means and basically a digital identity for whatever we decide it to be. And
Mm-hmm.
the more people that can come up with different ways of making an NFT different than just a capsule for a picture,
Mm-hmm.
then it's basically what I promote right now. Is obviously avatars is probably one of the use cases that we've got in our heads because obviously they can be encapsulated with extra features like wearables and different parts, and they can all be attached to the one NFT from that point. But it's really difficult to see the future because, like, from our point of view, we believe that we know right, but in 3 months from now, somebody might come out with a better concept that fully blows our brains, and we're
Mm-hmm.
we're like, oh, that's the winning use case that people will go for NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
I I just I have always believed that an NFT should be almost like a wallet system. That everything could be chucked inside that NFT, and it doesn't really matter what's inside of it. It's still like a holder.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that concept of backpack. I don't know if you've looked at that company.
I have not.
Backpack allow you to have wallets. Um, that is basically an NFT. So your NFT is a wallet, and you've got stuff inside that wallet, and that stuff gets transferable. If you sell that whole wallet as one go, all the stuff comes with it. And I always believed that an avatar would eventually become that. Like whatever the person's wearing at that time will be the thing that's sold.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get you get people that could actually turn around and go, well, I'll sell that, but quickly take the stuff out before it transfers, and like you've got scammers here. They're all over the place.
Oh, they're
So,
scammers. So,
this is the part that NFTs should sort.
mhm,
Is we can basically turn around and say, we know by blockchain this was created by that particular person, and that particular person is the owner and the creator and the royalty earner. And this is the clear future. 10 years down the line, if that asset is sold, the royalty goes to the true royalty holder. Like they actually get the money for it.
yeah.
If the platforms play the ball and don't sidestep them, like obviously OpenSea
Mm-hmm.
was a wee bit nasty on the royalty side, like taking that away for a wee while. I don't know if that returned. I've actually not checked on that.
Hmm. I mean, definitely OpenSea is a little better than like, any other Web 2 entity, let's say, that would provide the same service. Like, I feel like if there was a Web 2 OpenSea, it would be incentivizing the creator with, like, let's say, 50% of of what they just sold, for example. They sold, if they sell like an ETH, a piece that costs an ETH, they get a half ETH or whatever. But definitely in Web3, it is a little better. Even when it comes down to like platforms such as Decentraland, when you go in the wearable marketplace or the
Mm-hmm.
emote marketplace I told you about, the creator, from there, like, you in order to submit a wearable, you would have to pay like $100 in mana to submit, and then from there you could put it in the marketplace, and everything that you sell, about, I think it would be like 97.5% of it comes back to you as the creator, or goes to your wallet as in the form of mana.
So they don't take a royalty off of all sales.
They do, but it's like a 2.5% royal, like, kind of thing. Like, and then, here, let me go to my marketplace here so I can kind of show you. Like,
This is interesting. I hope other people find this interesting as well, because obviously, if you're coming into Decentraland and you're looking to create something, you kind of want to know what's going to come out of your pocket as well as what you could earn potentially from selling it yourself.
So, like, right here in my screen, I'm showing basically my sales with my wearables on Decentraland. I've had 2 wearables submitted ever, and between the two, I've made 128 sales. It tracks it all here. So whenever a person is buying it directly off you in the marketplace, I uh, I I believe it is that you get 97.5% of that mana from the purchase. And then let's say the person that bought it from you, and let's pick on Zom here today. Let's say Zom, bought this meal, or I believe at 69 mana, uh, like, what was it? Or, I mean, I'm sorry, he bought this and then he sold it. From him selling it to the other user, I would receive a 2.5% of that, which would be right
That's
here.
what I was saying about the royalties.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that I quite enjoy about the concept of NFTs being used in that particular way, because it just means it's by code it's built in saying that you are the creator and owner of that part. I just don't know from a wearable point of view if that wearable's always gonna keep that IP rights, you know, like, because obviously you have already got an export system that's built
Mhm.
onto your avatars.
Mhm.
Once that exports, somebody can take that asset without the purchase sides,
Mhm.
and it's now not an NFT, it's just the asset, you know,
Mhm.
and then it becomes a copy.
I guess like the way that the Decentraland has kind of it's trying to deter that because we do have the export system and then we can just send the file to anyone. But Decentraland had recently started giving creators the option that, like, let's say they submit a wearable, they could opt into the VRM feature or opt out of it.
Hmm.
So at that point, it would be up to the creator.
Not, I'm not bringing this up to diss anybody or
Oh,
to say it's a bad concept. It's just something I see from a creator's point of view.
hmm
Obviously, if I make a beautiful hat and I want that hat to have IP rights and royalty rights for the rest of time, if I allow it to be downloaded and sent out as a file without being connected to the NFT, I've lost the rights of the NFT, and it becomes not an NFT anymore. You know, it's now an asset that's a copy of that NFT.
hmm
Obviously, you don't own it. Well, this is what people have always had the meme about. Right click and save. You know, like anybody can technically get anything if they want it. It doesn't have to have the NFT connected. The whole
hmm
part of the NFT for me is the fact of I know true ownership and I can prove that using the blockchain with that particular asset. And I think this is the bit that is not drilling into people's brains, but actually to give that understanding that if you have an asset that has the backing of the NFT, you know that NFT is the part that's valuable.
hmm
Obviously, the part that's valuable to us is running about with a beautiful avatar with the wearable on the avatar on any avatar that we want, and just tying back to your interoperable kind of concept. I want that interoperability between all platforms, not just Decentraland. I want it that there's some way that I could physically take an asset from one platform to another, and if I decide to hand that asset over to another person, then I lose the rights of that because it's not mine anymore. I gave it away. And
hmm
they now own that NFT and they have it in their wallet. And that system is coming. It depends on what people look at that as a concept. Like, because obviously people have got other platforms like Polygon and uh, layer 2 systems that are coming into place. We've got base that's coming in, and that's going to make transfer costs very, very negligible. Like, it's going to be tiny.
hmm
So having assets on lower, I, I don't call it like a lower in quality. It's a lower level of like control. It
hmm
just means it's going to become cheaper, you know,
Yeah.
to move these assets around, and uh, I think they will merge together eventually. It just comes down to how much do you want to be as close to the layer one as possible. Like if you want it on layer one Ethereum, you're going to pay a transfer cost. If you take it onto layer two, then people have to go from layer one to layer two if that's where their assets are. They have to have that bridgeability to take the assets between them.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts on it? Like, do you feel like it's coming? Do you notice like people working towards that interoperability, or it's the development is a little slow for your liking?
Nothing in this space ever goes fast. So if anybody ever looks at this space and says, "I wish that was now," um, probably add a year on, and then you'll be expecting it to happen because nothing happens overnight. I believe there's a massive amount of work being done during this bear market that people are waiting for the market to come back. This magical green light's going to happen, and everybody's going to come out of the woodworks and say, "I built this, I built that," and we're going to have a massive amount of stuff happening. But I I hold my breath and hope that that is true.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact there are companies out there, because I was one of those companies that were looking at layer twos and different points, and we really understand that the cost of transfer is a massive hindrance for people. Obviously, within like low cost kind of avatar system wearables, who wants to pay $9 to $12 to up to, like, at sometimes, like when high ETH charges are happening, $300 for moving, I don't know, maybe a $10 pair of shoes? Like, nobody in their right mind would want to pay the same amount of money just for a transfer cost.
Yeah.
So a layer two, I do believe that that's coming, and I think all companies will eventually jump onto that site. I just don't know if there's going to be one platform that pushes that.
Mm-hmm.
I've,
I I feel like companies are already exploring the layer two applications of things. I see like Base like kind of doing a lot of things when it comes to innovation, and of course they have Coinbase's money behind it, and then like kind of this is just a side comment. We don't have to get into it, but like it was kind of like to add on to your what you mentioned, like everything in the space takes time. So if you're expecting it 1 year, add on another year to it. That applies for everything except Warpcast. I don't know if you looked into the Farcaster protocol, but it seems
yeah,
like
I signed up for it, but unfortunately, to try and get attention on that, you have to be like, you
oh,
have to be famous or something. I
no,
don't know
no,
what's going on.
not even be famous. I mean, my friend Rustan is like a true like whale in their platform, like actually creating and doing dope shit, and like he just doesn't get noticed. Like you just I guess it's almost coming down to you just have to be a botter.
Yeah. See, I think this is the clear part. A lot of the energy and time and stuff is fully built into attention. Like, attention is the key goal for all these platforms. Like, if you don't have attention, you won't have users. And to keep users within the space, they have to feel like they're getting something out of it as well. So when I tried Farcaster, I tried it. I put a post on. I had to look through other people's posts and stuff, but I was like, this doesn't quite have the. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't feel cool enough. You know, like it feels too techy, and I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't have the feel of what I expect it to be. One part that I really loved about that was the built-in feature of embedding your NFTs and stuff straight within your post, which
Hmm.
I believe that's already now done into Twitter. I think Twitter have already done it. So it's I still believe that Twitter's probably everybody's dream platform at this point. I don't think anybody's going to beat Elon at this game just now. Not in the near future anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely gonna be different, and I feel like they cater to different crowds. For example, um, if you don't mind me asking, you mentioned that that kind of like Warpcast felt a bit techy, like it was more for like developers and stuff like that. At what point in time, or like how long ago did you like join Warpcast? Because I felt the same way when I joined about a year ago.
Yeah, it was close to that.
Okay.
Probably 9 months,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
So,
It was when Vitalik started to post about it. That
okay,
was when I started to look at it.
nice.
And I think he only posted about it because he wasn't getting enough people interested, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not to say it's not a good concept or a good platform, and it's not my right to turn around and say it's bad. So from my point of view, I see it. I know it's a tech that I could utilize. I just believe that Twitter is a concentration I would rather put into because I know there's other users there. Even users that are outside of the realm of just Ethereum. You know, like it's more focused on the Ethereum side than any of the others. And I think that's the part that kind of put me off more. It was like focused on the Ethereum base and different. I think Polygon was included as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
So, yeah, like so. I don't know if you've been checking Warpcast out then since, but these days it's like integrated a lot of chains, a lot of and it in the thing that made it blow up in popularity is the
with
tipping
Solana
mechanism.
and
Well,
all
it
right.
was more like the degen tipping mechanic that came in, or it got launched like back in February of this year, and that created like the whole tipping mechanism within Warpcast. People started flooding in because they could earn degen token from posting and stuff like that.
Ah, okay,
hmm
okay.
so like for example, like me, currently in Warpcast, I have an allowance of degen every day that I can give away to other users, and if I don't give it away, that token gets burned. Um,
I was about to say I might have a bag of degen that's just sitting there. Damn.
yeah. So,
Eh, You don't get anything for anything these days, do you? Ah, man.
but like yeah, that degen it does not belong to me either. Like the allowance at least. Like, but to get an allowance, I would have to like the basic or the base rule was like get like 10,000 degen, and then you'd start getting an allowance, and then it was like stake over 10,000 degen, and you'll start getting an allowance.
What's your feelings on staking? Do you believe that that's something that holds somebody into the platform and makes them love it more, or do you think it's just a way to milk
Ah.
more?
I mean, I think it goes both ways, and I think staking definitely requires a lot of timing. Like timing more than anything. If you stake your token like before the bull run, and then it pops, and like you are allowed
And
to
it's
with
locked in.
yeah,
Yeah,
and you're
you're
allowed to
like, oh
withdraw.
man,
Yeah,
yeah.
then you came the fuck up, you know. But if you are in the bull run and you lock it up, and then like it starts stuff starts to go down, and then you just lost a lot of your value most likely once it's time to unlock or whatever it may be. But like there are like different types of staking, I would say. Like this, like the degen staking, for example, it was like you lock up your token for 3 months, and but you're getting like something back in the sense of like being able to benefit those around you, like the people that whose post you interact with, and you're like, hey, this post is pretty cool. Here's 10 degen.
I still think it's the cool kids in the class kind of concept. You know, like you're gonna give tips to your friends, and you're always gonna give tips to the cool kids because you want to be seen. You know, like, and
Yep, definitely.
I I still don't like that type of system. I can't come up with a better way to hand out like it shouldn't be called a token. It should be more of a point system. Like going, well done for all your points this week. You get a prize. You know,
hmm It's definitely
because we
gotten a little shisty over the time. Like it's always a concept that starts beautiful, like a beautiful concept. Like hey, start. You could help all those around you build. Just give away your allocations to small artists and stuff like that. But then there's like those that are like, okay, so we have the biggest allocation ever, so let's start giving it to ourselves.
yeah, and people also get anxious about not getting a donation. You know, and it's like say you got 1,000 and everybody knows you've got 1,000 coins, and they know you've looked at the post, but you didn't tip them, and then you're like, well, they didn't tip me, I'm not going to tip them, and it becomes a tit for tat, and we're all in that position. I think it's just human nature to actually not like a person because they didn't like your post or it wasn't good enough to get a tip.
Yeah, well,
We had this conversation quite drastically actually when we were thinking about I don't want to call it a ranking system, but it's similar to, they call it karma over on Somnium Space, and we had to come up with a system that would rank a user to how much they use the platform. Like, why do we give them points for one particular thing but not another? And they had to go through a lot of like choices of what they would give ranking on that part. But the whole ranking system was only set up for one part. In the end, was trust. Like if you walk up to a person and you know for a fact that they're trusted because the rank looks good up above their head, they might have gamed the system to get to that part, but you can't game a system that's always gonna drop that ranking system down if you do bad things. Like, you can game the system for so long, but you can't do it indefinitely. So a bad actor is always going to get seen because it's obviously the rank will drop if they do something wrong.
I agree. And to your comment, like the whole like someone might get mad if I see their post and don't tip them. Oh man, I mean, anyone that knows me is like will know that. Oh well, I'll just move on. You know, I don't need that person in my life. I'm sorry, but like uh, they may soon realize that it's like nothing against them, and it's like when I like tip them in their next post.
So are these tippable coins or whatever they are? Are they truly coins like on the blockchain, or is it?
Yep, it's a
Yeah.
token. It's Degen token. It is on the base network.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a tipping system put into your world, like into Decentraland? Is there a tippability factor on that? Like, can you move mana between each other?
Not between each other. I know that like some parcels have it hooked up where there's like a tipping jar. You can click on it and like tip mana or whatever. Crap, I was coming over to Warpcast for a reason. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's like those tipping jars, but like nothing from like player to player, which I mean would be cool, but at the same time we do have MetaMask and we could just add addresses.
Well, I was going to say to you, is in Discord, there's bots that do that tip feature. Like you can make your own coin and have a tipping feature within Discord that you can tip each other and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. I didn't know that Discord had like a person
Yeah,
to
Discord's
person.
got, yeah, it's like a tip system. You can actually say tip so and so whatever amount of coins. It took a bit of time to set up, but we did one just as a test at one point probably about 2 years ago. There'll be much better systems now, like within Discord.
I would hope. Or hopefully they went forward and not backwards. I feel like with some things, Discord like sometimes like does really great, and then like